Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we have five new knives from Kansept we're going to check out. Starting it off, we have the new Kansept ARCUS, and I've got to say, I really like this knife, and I kind of thought I was gonna. I seen it on Stasa23's channel. Shout out to Stasa23. Definitely go and check his channel out. I seen it on his channel, and I instantly fell in love. Like, I just love the sleekness and how useful it looks. And now that I get it in hand, man, this is a very useful EDC knife. Not only does it have a nice thin cutting geometry. Look at that Damascus. Beautiful Damascus. Now, this is the Damascus version, but it does come in, I think, S35VN and possibly other steels as well. This one's the titanium frame lock with micarta. But the blade is a beautiful sheep's foot blade that is going to be very utilitarian. You have so much control over this blade, even with slicing. This is a very neutral handle, and you can turn it around, easily cut straps.
This is a knife where you have so much control, maximum control, no matter what grip you're in or what direction you're cutting. You can cut reverse, backwards cuts, you can cut shapes, swirls, it doesn't matter. You have so much control, and it feels extremely safe. It feels like a very safe knife to use in weird grips and positions. It's sleek, it's slim, and it's nice and long, so it's gonna slice really good, and you're gonna have a lot of reach with it. But then just the way the ergos complement the blade, it's a knife like that you just feel so comfortable using, you know, and sometimes maybe in even weird ways. Now here, this is double walled cardboard, so double thick cardboard, and I'm doing a reverse gripped backwards cut, and it's cutting through it efficiently. So you can see that this knife is a knife that you have so much control over, and you're probably going to gravitate towards because it's so useful and so nice to use. And then on top of it, when you add in the action and how crispy the detent is and how lightweight it is to carry, this is an awesome knife.
Then you have this flipper tab, very well jimped, very comfortable, and a perfect detent. Super snappy detent, man. They did a killer job on this detent. So you just break the detent and it snaps open with authority. Oop, that was my fault. All you gotta do is just break the detent. Oh, it's so good. Then you have this fuller. Now the fuller has a little bit of a sharp edge to it, so it's easy to flick. And if you're left-handed, guess what? This is basically like a bolster lock, so you can easily do it left-handed as well. Titanium mill pocket clip. Only one standoff, so it's very simple. The construction is very simple. It's very easy to clean out. You know, you could easily clean this out with a Q-tip or with some air. And the access to the lock bar, really good access, very smooth. Look at how smooth this is. You know how light this blade is? This is such a light blade, but look at that. Very smooth. And the lower you go on the blade, the easier it'll be to reverse flick. But even with it up high, it's still pretty easy. Beautiful knife, man. I like this one quite a bit. I'm not going to say it's my favorite Kansept right now because I just recently got it, but it possibly could be because I know, it's very sleek, but this profile of a knife, unless if you've used it and carried a knife like this, you don't understand how useful a knife is, especially with it being so easy to wield. So let's talk about my couple negatives really quick. One, my micarta inlay has a little crack on it right there, and then it's not perfectly fit on this side. That's not that big of a deal to me, but if it was you, and this happened to you, I would say return it and get a new one. I'm sure they would have no problem just exchanging it. This side is really good, so, it seems like, they mostly did a really good job with the inlay work, but this one happens to have a little tiny crack. Maybe this screw was tightened too tight. It might have been something that they didn't notice off the bat, and it kind of expanded over time. But the next thing is sharp control and plunge grind. While it's pretty decent, it tapers down. So it starts here, or way back here, and then it goes to like right there. So I would prefer if the plunge grind stopped way back here and there was a lot of life to sharpen. Now, I don't think it's hard to tell without sharpening it, but I don't think this one will be that big of a deal with getting a smile. It might get a little smile, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. So I am not too upset at that. That's like, it's a very tiny nitpick. So my only real complaint is this inlay work. Other than that, man, even this clip, you know, I don't feel any wiggle side to side or anything like that, even though it only has one screw. So they did a really good job. Man, I'm liking that one. Next is the Kansept MATO. Tomato, it's the MATO. So the Kansept MATO, M-A-T-O. It has a spear point S35 VN blade with a flat grind. Good looking satin. Then we have a carbon fiber liner lock with a G10 inlay. We're going to talk more about that here in 1 second. Steel liner lock, deep carry pocket clip that is a steel deep carry clip, and then it has a G10 full backspacer, the entire thing. So this is a very solid liner lock knife. Very, very solid, pretty robust considering, you know, how long that backspacer is. You know, it holds a lot of stability. Now, the ergonomics are extremely good. Extremely, extremely good ergonomics. It kind of reminds me of the Nix knife that we're going to talk about, but it has, oop, that's my fault. It has the reverse flicking hole. It's pretty easy to get to. Yeah, it's easy to get to, so good action on the reverse flick. The thumb flick is a little tight, though. It's a little difficult to get in there. I can do it, but the reverse flick is where it's at. Then you have the top flipper, which this is one of those top flippers that you don't get. It's not tall, so you have to basically put your fingers on it, put pressure, and then like kind of slide it that way. So they're not, sometimes it depends. So depending on the detent, these are good front flippers, but like I can't do the reach over. I can't do that. I can only do it with a thumb. So, you know, that's a little bit of a downside when it comes to front flippers, but it depends on the type of front flipper you like. This one to me, it's just, I'm not a big fan of these types of front flippers. But if you like these types of front flippers, then by all means, you know, it works. It's definitely grippy, has good good jimping on it. And you always have the reverse flick. And like I said, hand melting ergonomics. Now, the carbon fiber and G10. Let's get to my negatives. T6s don't like that. The inlay work on this is really bad. So the other one, you know, I said there was a couple negatives, but this has some serious inlay work. Bad inlay work. You can see there's cracks around the seam. I can see where they fit this into the carbon fiber, and they just did not do a good job with fitting it in. It doesn't fit good. It's not that I can feel it really. They did a decent job on the height and the contouring and everything, but you can see the cracks in between there. So not a big fan of that. It does make it look cheap. But I like the carbon fiber, but they almost should have just went with solid carbon fiber. But yeah, that's the one complaint. Next is the sharpen tool and plunge grind. You know, I prefer an actual sharpening tool and plunge grind. They did not do that here. You can already see from the factory it has a smile starting. You can see where the sharpening hit the plunge grind. That's called the smile because it starts smiling up. You know, like the cheeks you have. Like when you smile, you know, your cheek goes up. That's what the grind does. It starts going up the plunge. Access to the lock bar is okay. It's pretty decent. It's not horrible. It's also not amazing, but it's decent. It's okay. They gave you something at least. But yeah, this one, I'll be honest, you know, I like how ergonomic it is, but it's just not for me. It's good. It's a good solid knife, but I personally, you know, I'm not, if you like it and if you have it, by all means, it's a solid knife, you know, and I'm sure it'll work out great as a tool, especially because of how ergonomic it is. Very versatile blade shape. So as a work knife, this thing would be phenomenal. It would be phenomenal. But as far as, you know, little details go, it's the little details that kind of bother me on this one. And the clip looks like an afterthought. It's not inset. It has button screws. I don't like that. Centering's pretty good, but yeah, the clip just looks like an afterthought. They should have put a different clip on there. Now, the next model has been my favorite model from Kansept, which is the Kansept CONVICT. The first one I had was the titanium frame lock version with thumb studs. And actually, technically, it was a thumb disc was my first one. Then I gave that one away and I got the thumb stud version. The version with the thumb studs has a perfect sharpening choil. So this is the one I recommend, unless if you want a more affordable option, which then they have the budget version, which is in 154 cm. This is an S35. 154 cm in G10. Amazing, amazing knife. We're gonna go into why here in 1 second. The titanium frame lock one is about $200, but man, is it good. It is so, so good. Now this new one is a 20 CV version with this beautiful copper carbon fiber. I'm sure they have different handle materials. This one I really like because look at this, the butt end of it. It has this carbon fiber black spot right there. I think that looks cool. It kind of stands out. But the reason why this knife is so awesome is, one, it is so comfortable in the hand. Like one of the most comfortable knives, especially knives that have flat scales. It is mega, mega comfortable. Even in reverse grips, pinch grips, every grip is comfortable. Then the blade shape, this Wharncliffe blade shape is so utilitarian. You get so much leverage into that tip, and then because it's a straight edge, you can trap materials with it. You can turn around and cut straps and ropes. Pinch grips are amazing. So as far as work goes, this is an extremely useful EDC knife. And then on top of it, the action is very addictive. Especially the one with the hole deployment. Don't get me wrong, the thumb studs are great too. I think this has amazing thumb stud action, but I like a hole, and I wish they would make the titanium frame lock version with a hole. But anyways, yeah, killer design. I'm not going to complain about anything because I love the knife so much. This clip, I think they did a perfect clip on it. The one thing, you know, I wish they did T8s instead of T6s on the body screws, but I'll get over it because the knife is so awesome. So that is the new version of the Kansept Convict. Now, here we have the new version of the little Main Street. Now, I have the big Main Street, which is just the Main Street. Then I do have a liner lock version of the little Main Street. Now, I didn't really like it because the lock bar access was horrifying on it. But as far as the big one goes, it's good. Good lock bar access, awesome knife. This is another fantastic work knife. Very ergonomic, very utilitarian. 154 cm blade steel. This is a fantastic budget work knife. And it has a titanium milled pocket clip. So as far as the mini Main Street goes, this is the new version with the titanium frame lock. They do have the liner lock version like I said, but personally I don't like it because of the access to the lock bar. They fixed that on the frame lock version. So it has an S35 VN sheep's foot blade or Wharncliffe blade. It does have pretty much a perfectly straight edge, maybe a tiny bit of belly, but it's going to be very utilitarian. It is a 3-finger knife, so this is a small knife. Very small knife, but it feels just like a micro premium knife. It really does. They did a good job on it. Not only does it have this storm anno finish that we see a lot of companies doing right now, possibly a little late in the game on doing, but it looks really good. And if you like this type of anno work, it pops. All right, here we have all 3 sizes of the KORVID, from the mini KORVID, the KORVID MIDI, or medium KORVID, I think it's KORVID M, yep, the KORVID M, and then the XL KORVID. Now, as far as the XL KORVID, it is an absolute beast compared to this little guy, as you can see, but this guy's tiny even compared to the medium size one. So, it has a nice big old cleaverish blade, multiple forms of deployment. This one doesn't have the front flipper, but it has a great reverse flicking and thumb flicking action. Also with the flipper tab. But anyways, let's get back to this mini one really quick. So, as Kara was stating, that this knife is the size of the knife that some people carry as a full-size knife. You know, she likes to carry small knives. So, you know, she has little tiny pockets. So this is a knife that will actually fit in her pocket. Same thing with this one. This one has a clip though. So this one does not. So it would really help to have a clip for the people that want to actually carry this as their main little knife or their main little blade. And you know, it's such a good quality little knife that, you know, it's because, you know, a lot of times when you look at little knives like this, you think that, you know, maybe there was some corners cut or something like that. But no, these things are very premium knives. They're just micro. But anyways, just a quick look at some new Kansept knives. Until next time, peace.